I'm podcasting it. Welcome back to the Boardcast, guys.
Let's go.
You know, we haven't got the music together yet, so I thought I'd come up with one of my own. It may be a little bit stolen, but just don't.
All right,
steal it.
which episode we're gonna do the music on?
At this point now, we're trying everything.
We're
to do
12 right now, right?
Except put an intro song in. We've had Danny singing a jiggle.
I think I just need more than 3 minutes of time to do pretty much anything other than drive a truck.
Well,
at the moment.
we have already listened to a couple of jingles, right?
Yeah.
At the
Some
moment.
audience members have also sent me like some fun jingles and stuff.
Do you see Hayden? I think maybe our first Patreon. Did he show you that thing on his phone where it you put in AI and it creates like a
It's
whole
crazy
song for you?
Yeah, I thought it would just make
Yeah.
music, but it also does lyrics.
You can do it adds lyrics and you can choose voices and decides you can give it prompts obviously just like
that's
AI
not too
generator
bad.
and does the whole thing. It's actually pretty impressive. I was listening to a few of them, we did some rap stuff, some rock stuff on there, and he was standing in the shop and was showing us, and I'd say moments away from artists not having to make music.
No, I think
it's insane.
you still need the. I think that someone talked about this before, they can't completely replace. It's just assist.
Yeah, I think the medium's going to change in the future where
Yeah.
I think jobs are going to shift a lot, right? Where rather than it being, for example, in the computer field, where rather than being really, really good at programming, right? And actually knowing the technical knowledge of programming, it's going to be more like how good are you at problem solving, using the AI to assist you.
I guess there's always new
Correct.
problems to solve, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But if the problem to be solved is entertainment, that can end at some point.
Yeah.
Some of the songs that we made up in 3 seconds were no worse than some regular pop songs you'd hear on the radio right now.
I think we're at a stage now where we can't deny that AI is going to become a thing. So rather than, I don't know if we can push back against AI anymore. We just kind of got to accept that it's becoming a thing, and then people are just going to have to evolve around it more. So I know, for example, in my field right now, in computer science, instead of me Googling things a lot of times now and having to spend 20 minutes just trying to find the right article through Google, I just ask the AI and the AI will just give me an answer.
I guess it can search the internet faster than you can search the
Yeah,
internet, right?
absolutely. And I still have to do the work myself, but the AI has become this crazy powerful assistant.
I briefly touched on this in a previous episode where I feel like in the early parts of the internet, it was easy to find things because there was less stuff on there. You couldn't always especially when Wikipedia started, people say you couldn't trust it because people were putting their own things on there. And then obviously Wikipedia evolved, and then especially for science and medical stuff, it wanted you to have show your experience, like a medical doctorate or some way of determining that it's experts that's putting information on there. And then it got better. But then as the years have gone by, now when you go to use Google or a search function like DuckDuckGo or something, it's so inundated with so much information. The thing you need or the thing you're actually looking for, it's getting harder to find because it's got to wade through so much extra crap that's on the internet. Everything that's ever been put on there is most likely still there, and it has to be sorted through. So at some point, I guess the cupboard gets so clogged, it's you get someone else to search the cupboard for what you need.
It's a bit of a nightmare because the internet is big business, right? And every website out there is trying to make money. And now with the advent of SEO, right, search engine optimization, the businesses, it's less about getting the information to you, and it's more about these websites trying to optimize the search engines so that they come first when you search something, and then you click on them and you watch their ads and they make money. So it's not about giving the answers anymore. It's about them just trying to make money, to the point now where because big part of the internet is how much content you can pump out, right, and optimize the search engines and optimize your hits.
Yeah,
you just AI generated content is massive now. You have news websites of varying repute, really, but you have news websites now that just use AI generated content to pump out news.
You someone's Instagram, a casual Instagrammer has more content on their Instagram than a website used to have in the 90s.
Yeah, have you ever on Google been how to do a thing, and then you click on a website and all it is just very clearly they just copy and pasted it from some other place.
Yeah.
But you clicked on their website.
Copy content is.
Sorry, you go.
No, I just say copy content is pretty prevalent in all the YouTubers and stuff. They take a short clip from your long clip and then make their own videos, and then they get more views than you do.
Have you seen the ones on the Reels, Instagram Reels, and I guess it's probably from TikTok where it originates, where somebody be reacting to a video, but then there's a third person pasted their face over reacting to the reaction, and you're this is what kind of Inception stolen content is this? It actually reminds me a lot. I'd like to actually do a full William on this one. It reminds me of I've been trying to I wanted to get back and play some Commander. I've been trying to build a deck for maybe like 2 months now. Now, part of it's the fact that I don't have any bloody time, but part of it's that every time I go to look at my collection of cards, I'm like, it's too much. It's too hard. I'll just play a deck I've already got because I'm like, I don't want to sort through all the things and do all that, and I end up just like taking more cards out, and putting in the store binder, and I'm like, eventually I'll just shrink my own collection of cards down so much that it's just left for this one deck that I'm trying to build.
Every time you think you're downsizing, William walks in with another box of just chaff, and he's like, here's another 5,000 cards for you to sort. You're like, oh.
Well, I saw the colors for you guys.
True. William's way better than the average person that comes.
I already saw the colors. Like all you have to do is like tokens, like uncommon and commons as well. I did that for you, like just colors. All you have to do is just set by set if you want to do it.
Mark Cheng's a good friend and a good supporter of the things I do. Like Mark Cheng's been around for, I'd say way back in the day when I used to run the community club, like at the community centers, and then he came to Gamagori when we worked there, and now he's a big supporter here. He's a member of the shop, and he plays a lot of community stuff, does a lot of community stuff, and but he had this brilliant idea, William, which I know you're gonna love. His idea was to sort all the Magic cards, all our chaff. So we keep all the commons and uncommons for Magic, and we keep them on the side, and they're organized by set and then by color, right? He wanted us to sort them by color and then by set, so that it could more easily find like things in the colors that he's looking for. And it was a real issue to like try to explain to him why that would just at most, almost every Magic player would absolutely kill me if they came in and everything was just sorted out by color and then by set.
Yeah, because you would be like, I want a blue card, but then there's like 17 sets, right? So you won't have one box, you'll have 8 boxes full of stuff.
Yeah.
Color.
That's why when I sort cards, I just go by color now and alphabetical order. That's it.
The alphabetical part's insane to me.
To me, from selling singles for so long, like I experienced like to make it by set and by color, it's gonna be like what Kang just said. You're gonna have like multiple boxes and stuff. But if you just do it by color and then by alphabetical order,
So Mark was right the entire time.
that's
No,
the best.
absolutely not.
Are you organized by set and then by color, or just by color to begin with?
Just by color. So like each box has a color, and then by alphabetical.
It might work for William, but for us, no way. Because we have like 36 to 40 something sets, right?
True.
Don't do it by sets. Don't do it by sets.
I came in here expecting William to be totally on my side, and I was.
Because if
All right,
you
we're
do
gonna
it by
scrub
sets,
this. I don't want Mark hearing
like
this.
I said again, you have just too many like variation,
counterpoint.
right?
I already spent 3 months sorting all our Magic when I first came in, and I don't want to do it again.
So that's why I'm saying, like, if you want to just continue on with that, you can just maintain the colors, but just make it into alphabetical order, because that's the easiest to find. Like, if you want to find Stitcher supplier, just go to S and black, right?
I guess for you, the thing is, you're the only one dealing with your thing, and you're not coming to mess your setup. Whereas, like here, it's better for us by set, because you're going to go, like, we have customers come in and they'll be like, oh, this will belong here, and just dump it wherever. So your set's never getting mixed up, but ours is never going to stay in alphabetical order, not in a million years.
I mean, if you want to like manage like singles, like if you manage your own singles, then yeah. But if you're letting like public to manage your singles, then probably not.
Because when I first came to Northern Boards, I was responsible for a lot of the Magic the Gathering side of things, and I started off by like sorting a lot of Danny's like old chaff, and it wasn't really organized at all. I think it was like loosely organized by color.
It was when I first started. You'll see there's like penny sleeves in there.
Yeah.
So when it was mine and just my stuff, not for the shop, it was all organized into penny sleeves, and all the doubles and like the copies of each ones were in the penny sleeves together. But then it went downhill as soon as, like I said, you go into the shop environment and the community gets involved.
Because I spent 3 months, like legitimately like 2 to 3 months organizing every single card we had in store, putting it into set and color. And when I was finally done with it, I was so proud of myself. I was so happy. And then like within the next like couple weeks, I just watched people like grab just like chunks of cards and just mash them back in the boxes. Things go everywhere, and it became a mess. I imagine that is how it feels to raise a child.
Well, that's
You spend clean my room and then it's messy in
that's
5
why no
minutes.
one sorts junk though. Like Shaft City is like never sorted.
Yeah. Well, I think so many, like, I know the good games have moved away from having even chaff that you can go through. So I think we're a little bit in the like minority of having that available to people.
Oh, they still do it. Like Good Games Molly still does it.
Oh, so you can go
Yeah.
sort through their own
It's
chaff
like
there.
there's a Shaft
So, no,
City.
Cannington just has, you just go up to the counter and you like ask for it.
Oh no,
or
they
whatever.
still have Shaft City as well. Yeah,
cool.
It's like a fixed
didn't
price,
realize.
like whatever comments. How many comments you take? Like per piece is like what 40, 50 cents or something like that. Uncommon,
Interesting.
X amount.
It's becoming more and more of a rarity though for stores to start sorting the commons and uncommons, just because new Magic sets come out so regularly now.
True.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you just don't have the time to sort all the commons and commons.
No, you don't sort it. You just leave it be because it's so cheap, right?
True.
I do have a mentality of like I guess the previous times of Magic where you get 3 or 4 sets a year, and it's like that isn't so overburdening. Like it was not such an overburdening like thing to do as well. You know, sorting chaff was a not again you didn't have that much. You only had a few sets,
Right.
and Popular wasn't nearly as Magic, so you didn't have as many boxes. Like it was a much smaller process. But you're probably right. Now it's a bit of a nightmare. But let's say we just had we just didn't sort our chaff at all. Do we just put it in a box?
Yeah,
And just
pretty
leave it
much.
as it is.
That's right. I mean, it's
Wild West.
a self-service thing, right?
What I like to imagine is, you know, there's boxes and they fill them with money, and then the money flies around in the air and you got to catch it. Like that's what we should turn our chaff thing into, where they like the customer's like, oh, you got 2 minutes in there, it's $3, you can take whatever you want.
Wait, you know you
No
watch
paper
videos,
cuts are on us.
You watch videos of people going those like money flying around in the booth machines, and like you watch them grab with your hands. No, bro, just like take your shirt and just umbrella everything.
I remember seeing quite a large round fella, and his strategy was to push it up against the glass wall
Yeah.
with his bat. So the first thing he did was like stand from one side and really quickly move to the other side, and he smushed it all up against the
He
wall.
had the right idea. When you're already in there and you're grabbing money, there is no more like it's already shame.
He's got that
It's
service-
only shameless from there
that
on.
surface area perk.
We're pretty. Sorry, go ahead. Will.
So pretty much what I want to do today is I want to repeat a content that we did last week. So again, One Piece Regionals is coming to Perth. This is the biggest TCG event ever to come to Perth. I would say the biggest one because it's gonna be three events. So you're gonna be like Dragon Ball, you're gonna have like Digimon, pretty much all the Bandai games, right? And One Piece. So you have the One Piece event should be around 256 or 384 capacity, and then Dragon Ball is like 256 as well. So it's
Oh, really?
yeah, it's huge. So it's bigger.
I didn't realize there's so many people playing Dragon Ball in the state.
Oh, there is a lot. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, the one that's just happened, I think 2 weeks ago in Brisbane, the first Fusion World Regionals was sold out in maybe 15 minutes or so.
No
I think so.
shit.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Do you reckon with an event that big, because now you're looking at like past 500 people, do you think there's gonna be some other cool stuff like cosplay and like other cool things they're doing?
Nah,
They're gonna be
it's
in
just
there
pretty much straight. It's
in there
just
for business?
Just for business.
Serious gamers, dude.
Yeah, there's no point doing a collab with cosplay and things because it's just gonna make the event harder to manage, right?
I guess so. It's
You
not-
already have like 300 people to manage, like in terms of like complaints, judging, like even pairings.
True. I guess it's like what they're trying to achieve. Like, does it end up looking like BlizzFest or something, or does it look like
Nah,
a
it's just
BlizzCon
pretty
or-
much just go there and just battle it out.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty much like an actual card game tournament, pretty much straightforward, right to the point.
You got the biggest card game event happening there, and over here on all the boards, we got the biggest, the best, the most amazing Warhammer 40,000 event happening right now.
Oh yeah,
The Northern Wars 40k League, you know. Just
How many
saying, if
people?
you're not in the league, it's pretty spectacular. We only just started round 1, but we have 52 people signed
let's
up.
go.
It is pretty impressive. I'm pretty impressed at what you
52.
managed to achieve there.
I
King.
was
Are you going
really
to be able to manage it? Because 52 is a lot of fucking people
Yeah,
you're going to deal
it
with.
was interesting because the last league was 36 people, and that was like pretty manageable. That wasn't too bad. And I like going into season 2 of the 40k league, I kind of masked out my event structure based around 36, 40 people again, and it kind of that went out the window. And now we have 52 people signed up. I had to go back to the drawing board and mass out all the pricing. The pricing had to like significantly go up to like compensate for how many more players are coming in and playing. But it's kind of hectic. There's a lot of new faces, new names, which are always exciting.
So is it closed? Is 52? That's
Yeah,
it.
that's sign-ups closed. Sign-ups closed. But this league is 5 rounds fortnightly, so it takes us to about 3 months, which is actually not a crazy long duration, which means that if you want to jump into the league, you can actually jump in for like season 3, which is later this year. So it gives opportunity for you to like kind of like pick and choose which one in the year you want to play.
So if you're going up by 10 people per league, and what should I be expecting you to hit 62 next one?
I don't know any. I legitimately don't know. I'm constantly surprised by how many people play 40k.
Is it the growth of 40k,
massive.
or is it an indication of you doing significantly like you running a good thing so other people are hearing about it and jumping on board?
I think it's a mixture of there's a lot of Warhammer 40k players, and Warhammer 40,000 as a hobby is constantly growing, it seems. But also, I think I'm getting a little bit better at marketing it. Like, I don't think I'm changing really the structure of the league as much, but I'm getting better at like communicating it out. And as it snowballs, right, because word of mouth is a big part of our business. People talk about the league, or they talk about how they have had fun in the previous one, and then people jump in.
Well, it's hard not to see 52 people jump on board and then have another shops in the area do the same kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I imagine it's gonna be a common trend as 40K as a hobby becomes more and more like dads playing it, and more people like with busy life schedules. They can't necessarily attend a tournament structure. This league gives them a little bit more of a flexibility. I've always described it as kind of like football, right? Where you have a season where all the teams come together and play and compete for the ladder.
Is that like a kill team league that you guys do?
Yeah, the Kill Team League was the first league structure that we tried at Northern Boards, and it was a lot of like me learning. It was like a proving ground for me to kind of figure out and test the structure out. And then from there, I was able to take it to 40K and kind of implement all the ideas.
Kill Team being the 40K guinea pig that we treat.
Is that going to be like a kill team, like a league coming back, or
Currently, we actually have a Kill Team League going right now. We're at the tail end of it, so just because of the amount of things happening at Northern Boards, especially since they also want to get an Age of Sigmar league happening as well when Age of Sigmar reaches the new edition. Kill Team's kind of taken the back burner for me, just kind of mentally. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to have some members of the community actually take the mantle of running events for Kill Team.
Yeah,
awesome.
So I think it's something looking for community leaders and people that want to get involved in that, and we can provide something like perks, like cheaper products or some like special limited edition things. We can try and look at those things for that community outreach, because we definitely are. I think Kang and I are pretty maxed out in the shop at the moment.
Yeah.
Like Kang's like battling uni and some like pretty big events as it is. And I'm definitely maxed out just on life right now. So it's
taking
hard.
a loan?
Yeah. Like for the last round of the fantasy league, the one that's just finished up, a couple guys needed an extra weekend to finish, and they were like, "Is that okay?" And I was like, "I'll be honest with you, I haven't prepared for the end of this week, so you guys taking the extra like weekend gives me a bit of extra time to like do the narrative, pop the write up, and get some things done for you know what I mean." So I wasn't upset about that at all. So I'll definitely appreciate. I'm managing 13, 14 people in my league, and Kang's got 52, so I appreciate the work he's putting in.
We also have 8 orc players in the league, which is a lot of fun.
This goes back to me. I really wanted to run a tournament day where players just have to play orcs. I thought that would be funny, and if there's 8 players who can play regularly, I think we can achieve it.
What I love about orc players is that orc players are a special breed of person. Because orcs have traditionally been so swingy in the meta back and forth. Sometimes they're terrible, sometimes they're great. Right now they're quite good. But long-time orc players have really personified that orc mentality of just like, I want to play what I want to play, go in and just do silly things, roll my dice, hope for 5s and 6s.
Well, the lore part of orcs is that they can will things into existence, right?
Yeah,
so
if
they imagine they're going to go fast, they'll go fast. If they can imagine their gun's going to shoot to the space, they can shoot to space, right? So it's like, that's the orc player way. It's like, I imagine that one day my codex won't be shit. and then one day it happens, and that time is now. That orc time is now.
I love the community response where people are like, "Oh my god, there's so many orcs." At least everyone has to play against an orc at one point.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. What if you're that one player who has to play orcs every single game of the league?
I hope it happens. That person would be like, "Oh man, the 40K league was fun, but that sure was a lot of orc players." So.
It was like when 10th first rolled around, I hadn't played 40K in quite a while, so I pulled out my Elder from when I was literally just a teenager. Pulled it out, put it on the table. I didn't play with any new stuff. It's all models that I collected from the 80s and early 90s. And I just played with the Aspect Warriors, so like the elite infantry units. And I played that. And I played 3 or 4 games with people that I hadn't played games before, because I hadn't played a lot of 40K. And I'd mopped everyone up in those 3 games. And I was like, I've discussed on the podcast before, it's like, it's not good for me to come into the store and like really quite hunker down on regular community members. Nobody wants to see like the store owner come in and like bully them into the ground and then walk away. Like, so I was like, I don't think Elder is the way to go. So I started a little orc army. I collected some things, and I was playing with like the buggies and like that stuff like that. So I started that army because it was the last edition. There were orcs with like some of the lowest tier lists, and now they've tried to fuck me. Like now they've brought it back, and then now the orcs are top tier again. So am I safe to go back and tell Elder? Like.
Apparently.
Or is that still a nightmare as well?
I don't know. People are always going to be upset about anything. So
that's true.
Split Custodes. Hit on a 2+.
Yeah, Custodes players are pretty upset right now. They went from being top dog to being like average.
Because their new codex released with the orc one, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it is
Drastic
interesting
comparison.
One gets, if when they're releasing things together and they're quite drastically different, it creates more of a comparison amongst the community, right?
I wonder like if AI could like make a army list based on like what's the best win rate, right? Because everything is in Warhammer is probability, right?
Yeah, and that's being launched into BCP. Like all the tournaments around the world. There's people who do those on websites already. Like put together those, because best case pairing is just like a website where when you run a tournament, you have to import you should be putting your list into there, and then you work out your win rates and whether your player goes first or second for the first turn, and they get the battle points and stuff like that as well. So there's people that have a website. I think it's Honest Wargame is that the guy who does it.
I'm not exactly sure.
We'll figure it out. We'll link it later. But they take all that information and they like put it together and then extrapolate what kind of who's winning, and like is this codex actually really overpowered, or is there people that are in the top end and people in the mid range who are winning tournaments? Because if there's people in the top end and the mid range, it means that it's probably just the players that are making it good. But if all the players that are playing, you play orcs and most players are getting in the top range every time, it means it's a low skill army, you know what I mean? So you're right, like you could definitely, instead of having to have someone go through that individually, you could have an AI do it much more thorough and probably much more expertly to determine like if this is the models that you should be doing. I'm not sure that's a good idea though.
Yeah, I always thought of that way. Like I'm sure like one day AI could just calculate the whole codex, right? And calculate the probability of each attack and everything, and then tell you which unit to bring. This is like the highest rate of success.
We're getting close to like Minority Report, where it's like predicting crime rates.
Or it's also like is Games Workshop using an AI to write the codex, and then the book gets sent back to them, and it's got to decide on which ones it made beta itself.
Probably.
I had ChatGPT make me some commander decks for fun. I was
really?
like, we should all get ChatGPT to make us a commander deck, and we'll play it. Which was a fun idea until we realized that ChatGPT is actually like pretty good at making decks. It makes some like pretty gross lists.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it looks at it.
What if you just prompted like, do not make it overpowered, like make it like tier 2 commander deck? Can you tell
Interesting.
them?
I should have done that. I want to see what
don't
AI
like
thinks.
don't tell like make me the best commander deck, but make me a tier 2 commander deck that does not
Kang's prompts were like, I want to fuck nerds up.
does not overpower my opponents on turn 2. Like, okay, I'll take off the mana creep, I'll take off this mana vault.
So have you guys used like the AI stuff for much?
Yeah, I do. A lot of it. Yeah.
I originally was pretty I pushed back against AI a lot when it first came out, but slowly I've become just kind of like, whatever. It's
Kang's like, they've come to steal my job.
I'm not gonna be like going to think about and do research about like marketing and how to do like a content post. I'm just gonna ask AI to do one content post for me and just post it up. 'Cause I'm working alone. I just don't have the time. I'm just gonna use AI to help me.
You're right.
Yeah.
I think a big pushback for AI still, and I still don't like the fact that AI is used to make like art and like the creative side of things.
Yeah.
Because it's really like compromising to these people that spend so much time, that spend so much effort in the creative work, like writing and drawing and painting and such. Or even like now it's making videos as well. And a big part of what the way AI works is that it can't really develop its own thoughts. It just aggregates from everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So really it's just taking the ideas of other creators.
At some point it'll be only aggregating its own product as well, right?
Yeah, that's right. Nothing new will come out. No. That's what I'm saying. Like in the beginning, like when you say like AI is going to take over, right? I say it's going to be an assist because it still needs the creative thought of like an actual human, which is going to create something new.
Yeah,
so they can't do that because it's not sentient, right?
There's like a certain sadness when, they say like wooden shipbuilding, like that's a skill that most likely has, unless there's one or two individual guys around the world that really master at this thing, that's a skill that's gone. But 1,000 years ago, not 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, there was people all over the world coming up with ingenuitive ways to create wooden boats to like send out and like become warships and boating and fishing and all those kind of things. And then as time goes by and technology doesn't need that anymore, now you've got people that build them out of steel. So that like skill has gone. And it's a little sad that thing that people spent mastering has disappeared from the world. And it's like the same thing for art, but I feel like art is more prevalent. Like if art gets replaced, is that the most human of skills that could eventually disappear? Like think about like the Sistine Chapel and the art and that's painted on there. Yep. There's so many people that do classic, I forgot. I had art scholarship, but I can't remember what it's called. But like that classic Renaissance kind of art, so much of that is gone, and that skill's gone. Like when all of art goes, like that'd be sad, right? Like we can live without boat skills, and that's just can be deemed down to technology. But
that's the thing, right? Let's take for example, painting miniatures. Can AI do that?
No.
Can AI
until robots become?
Yeah, but the problem is, can AI? How do I put it? Convert its ability to a robot arm carrying a 000 brush and paint a miniature.
Well, I would say absolutely. I think they're too expensive because they've got those robots that we're talking about 30, 40, $50 million robots that do surgery, plastic surgery, and like they do brain surgery, and they're overseen by doctors doing very precise cuts into like the brain and the heart and stuff. But that's not conducive to a painting thing because the price is so high. But eventually that price will come down, and then that thing can be used to like paint the eyeball on a miniature or like do tiny little brush strokes. It's not about, it can't be done. It's price indicative at the moment.
Probably.
I think it's definitely the dystopian outlook to find, like, if you maybe go far enough in the future where AI is so good and robotics become so good, well, like, so many things just become redundant because a robot can just do it better. Can you imagine like you order food and a robot chef can make it faster and better, and maybe the AI knows what you like better than a regular chef could?
So
or like
I gotta like try jumping in a little bit on this, like especially in cooking, right? There's no like a perfect exact recipe though.
Correct.
There's a lot of feel to it. Correct. Like I'm gonna add a little bit of salt here, but you don't know like how many grams of salt. There's no actual.
I think the most important part of this as a ingredient comes through the door, like a beef or which is beef, for example, that beef, because it's a living thing that's come from somewhere, that has to be grown, and that means its content of salt and minerals is different each time. So you're absolutely correct, where a chef adding more or less salt is determinant on that level of beef.
Correct.
So if they have no like skill to work around that at all, it means that they're just adding the same amount of salt from a recipe every single time, and the result is always going to be a little bit different, which means it's going to be better or worse. But then we talk about the fact that they can like theoretically print meat at some point in the future, and does then that always become?
I think you guys are underestimating that, like the extremes of when AI becomes so smart that it knows your entire history of like your database of what your personality is like, what food you like, what taste you like, and then the machine robotics becomes so accurate at like measuring out salt levels, flavors, and stuff, and just like mix it and go.
I guess
this is me like the dystopian 100 years in the future.
But that's calculated though. It's quantitative though.
Correct.
So it's still, when it's calculated, it's gonna be a probability though.
Yeah. And then, like, for example, building, right? Like a robot could just go on a site and 24/7 build faster than a human could.
When I was doing Froth Stop, so I worked for a beer tech company, like a startup for a couple of years there. And when we was doing the research for that, we were going for like a government grant for like a new technology owned by Australia. And one of the machines that was in the same grant process as us was this machine that goes out to a site and it builds brick houses. And it comes on a trailer and it's a giant arm, and it lays and mortars the bricks, and it does it at like 5 times the rate of a person, can work through rain through the night, and it can work silently, which is crazy within itself. So you could build a brick house in like a day or so just with this one machine. And that was mental. Something that's, we've gone away from brick construction in a big part of the world. You go to tilt panel, which is where you like lay out concrete panels and then you have them like craned onto site. And because that building process is a lot cheaper, you're not as much on site for as long, which is the expensive part. We've gone to a lot of that. So the fact that we could return to doing bricks, which is objectively much more attractive, like optically to the eyes, and has a lot of benefits as well that you like for heat and retraction kind of things. So it's like the fact that this machine can come there and do that, because only 3 or 4 years before this machine, the conversation about AI is like it can do all of these things, like all the technology stuff like on the computer. So those jobs are at issue, but it can't, like where we go from the robot section where, you can have a robot replace you completely and you manipulate with hands and build something, that's still quite far away. So then to have that thing there, technically it's not a person or a robot who looks like a person going and building it. It's a different solution altogether. And from 5 years ago, and they're like, oh, it's decades away to then it coming out of nowhere. And I think, did you see Tesla just announced their new robot as well?
What does it do?
It looks like a human. It's just a full human. It has fully articulated hands.
Really?
It's like those Boston Dynamic robots that look like almost like dogs.
Yeah. So it's they reckon they'll have those ready for $30,000 US by the end of 2025.
Jesus,
that's so close.
That's cheaper than what I can buy a car for.
I'll pull.
Talking about
I'll just have the robot
so the discussion
carry me to work.
The discussion that people were having was literally that you either decide whether you're going to buy this robot to replace your work, or you put a down payment on a house.
Jesus.
Yeah, true. Can make money for you. They work two places at one time.
I think we're hitting this transition period where a lot of the creative works have changed and will have to change.
I'm just showing like the Tesla robot. It's called the Optimus Bot, which is pretty cool. And yes,
the Optimus
it
Prime.
stands up and looks like a human.
I think the most important part of this part of the advancement is the fact that it has articulated fingers. So, again, the biggest problem we've had so far is I knew a guy who was literally part of the company that worked on those dogs that search for gas on the oil rigs.
Yep.
And, they kind of have those funny little blade legs and they kind of trot around.
Yep.
And they have limited issues because they can only, you can put sensors on them and cameras and certain things like that so they can smell gas and, alert people when there's a problem. But they had a limited amount of function because they couldn't really do anything when they got there. All they could do is use the sensors and I guess you put weapons on them. I know I've seen them use this for drone-like situations, which is not ideal, but is what it is. Whereas this robot, this new Tesla one, has articulated fingers like a real human being. So we're past the ape age of the technology where this thing...
We have opposable thumbs now on our robots.
Which is it seems little, but that's what made us human is the opposable thumbs, right?
This is the Terminator.
Yeah,
Skynet.
T-1000.
I know, man. And not so long ago, Elon Musk was on the thing being like, yo, we should be we should be more intelligently fear AI because if we lose control of it, and then fucking 2 years later he comes out with a bloody robot with thumbs. Go away.
I think it was a couple years back he was talking about how governments need to start regulating AIs.
Yeah, he should just listen to his bloody self. It's crazy.
But the creative works are going to change a lot and start incorporating more and more AI works, unfortunately, as much as my opinion is that it's not a great thing. But for example, in writing now, everywhere you go now, you can't escape AI, right? You have Snapchat, there's AI in there now. You go to Google now, and Google
it's Facebook too. It's annoying.
I've been trying to do Instagram Reels to use for our marketing, and I wish you could AI my face to be less shit because I was trying to look through filters, but I'm also colorblind, so I can't when I put a filter, I'm like, is this super obvious or not?
Give Danny a 6-pack.
I'll just be on Google trying to search something up, and the AI will be like, "Do you want me to help you with that?" And you can't actually escape the AI assistants anymore. What's really interesting as well, for example, a lot of people that write a lot, and you might have heard an app called Grammarly.
Yeah.
But Grammarly started to introduce AI now. And now Grammarly's like, would you like me to finish the sentence for you? Would you rather use this word instead? And the AI is starting to detect and change it. And it's an interesting thing because of how fast technology is moving. A lot of universities are struggling to keep up with the changing landscape of how education is taught and how people are using these AI tools. So I go to Curtin University and I think that Curtin's not handling it really well. So for example,
talk shit.
Yeah. Well, for example, right now, recently, Curtin had entire.
This is not Kang speaking, by the way.
Yeah, my opinions are my own. It doesn't relate to anything I'm going to say. But at Curtin University, they had to put a notice out to everyone using Grammarly to be like, you can't use Grammarly anymore.
That's crazy though.
What? We have, because obviously all universities use a submission, they use a software.
What is it called? Send it in. Turn it in. Yeah.
They use software to detect if you're cheating, copy and pasting, or you're doing anything suspicious. And now the Turnitin is getting better and better detecting if you're using Grammarly or using AI assistants in your writing. But it's if it's everywhere, it's just, once again, the university is just not adapting.
Don't they have an app to counter that app?
Yeah, there is this.
It just makes your spelling bad. It automatically changes spelling back.
It's a war now, back and forth, right? So
it's like counterspell, bro.
In my sake, why I get frustrated is from the university side of things. It makes sense because you want your students to actually be learning and not using these AIs to learn. So you want your students to be, being legit. So before AI was a thing, I think Curtin University, especially in the computer science field, was getting better at adopting the new age of you're always going to have a computer around on you. You're always going to have your phone on you. You're always going to have a calculator on you.
Yeah.
So a lot more work is becoming more open book, or you can do it from home, or you can submit project work rather than going in. When I first started, it was you go into a room, you sit in front of a piece of paper, and that was how you studied, because that way you couldn't cheat, right? You had to be just a piece of paper in front of you and write lines of code on a piece of paper.
Well, I think that was the biggest thing. It's from you're 7-8 years younger than me, Kang, and William's an indeterminate amount of ages older than I am.
At least 99.
But it's when I was in high school, we had scientific calculators.
Yeah.
And we were told we could only use them for certain things like scientific calculations, I guess, like trig. But we couldn't use them for everywhere because we wouldn't have a calculator with us at all times. And literally within the time that I was at high school, iPhones came out and we did have a calculator with us at all times. So it feels very counterintuitive to not let you work with the technology that literally exists. It's under this impression that one day there's going to be an apocalypse and now you've got to go and do digital creation without the use of like AI. You're like, I'm pretty sure that if you know what I mean, like that's like it doesn't make sense. Was it you that was telling me about the person with the driver's license? They were going for a driver's license. They wouldn't let him use the automatic car.
Not
What?
Me. I didn't know about the story.
Okay, so it's hard to tell where the stories come from at this point. But a friend of mine, their kid was going for. I'm assuming it's a friend of mine. Who knows now? But someone was telling me that their kid was going to do their driver's license test, right?
In Australia.
In Australia, and they had an automatic car, and they wouldn't allow them to use the automatic car because there's too many mod cons, and it had like driver assist and all those kind of there's driver assistance technologies that kept them within the lines, and you know it would, if it started turning, then it would start to turn the indicator on. These are all things that are in like brand new cars that are coming out, and they wouldn't let them use that car, like their parents' car, in the test because there was too many things helping them along the way.
Whoa.
And I get that. I totally understand that you want these people to learn that thing as well, but theoretically, you can't. If that technology exists now, by the time this person's out and driving around consistently, they're going to have that technology anyway. So it's like it doesn't as much make sense to tell them they can't use that vehicle, and more about how to educate. You've got to change your teaching assets around technology coming out. You can't remove.
I totally understand that, because when I took my driving license, which is in Malaysia, right? So everybody took their tests with a same car. So it's just a blanket. So they provide the car to you. You use that car. Everybody drives a manual.
That's a very different way of doing it.
Yeah. So they drive a manual. So everybody learns the same car.
It sounds more like a one car company had a hell good deal.
Yeah, it's a locally made car. So
Yeah.
so it's a government car, right? Whatever. But the problem is the issue was like everybody had the same experience.
Yes.
So when you like pretty much if you get like a better car, like let's say from when you get your license, so your dad bought you a BMW or a Mercedes Benz or whatever, a Lexus.
Oh,
and
I
then,
just jump straight to the nice cars.
yeah. I mean, like that. Like what Danny just said, like a car that could assist you, right? So if you could drive that car, it could assist you. But if one day, if you need to, like, if you go to overseas and you rent at least a car, and you could go back to basics.
Yeah.
That's I think
True.
that was the idea.
So
of
everybody had a manual license.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
so
'cause-
if you have a manual license, it automatically gives you like an automatic license.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's the
So
same thing.
you can drive the manual, you can drive the auto.
Which is you're correct there, because a lot of people here do only get automatic licenses.
That's right.
So they are missing a critical skill. So
what if you
maybe
go
how critical
to
is it
like
now though as well?
if you go and lease a car in like let's say New Zealand and they only had like we only have the manual car left, and you're like
Well, you mentioned prior, Danny, is like, so going back to the Curtin University thing, Curtin University had done like especially in the computer science field, they've done a lot of like good pushes and progress and being like, all right, we understand that it's more realistic. You're literally studying computer science. You're always going to have a computer in front of you. You can do all your exams and like your assignment work is going to be open book now. Like you have the resources, you have Google in front of you. You can use your resources to assist your work because that's more realistic. Like that's just how it is. I'm literally studying computer science. I'm going to have a computer in front of me.
Yeah.
And then recently, because of the AI, right, the universities are scared that all the students are going to start using AI to cheat, basically. So everything's gone back to closed book.
But
They've
is
shut
that
it all
cheating?
down.
Like, I just
They've shut it all down, and now like you have to
but
go
when you
back
go to
into
work,
classes.
isn't it like you have all these access as
Yeah,
well?
exactly. Well, so now they're shutting it all down, and you have to go back to being like everything's closed book. So like all my previous like open book, like all my programming work back in the day was like open book. You had the internet in front of you and research, right? And now this semester, I have to go back in the classroom, spend 3 hours in front of a piece of paper, writing code on a piece of paper. It's like, that's retarded.
What's the thing when a university teacher gets like retention at a university? They get the it's like good standing essentially, and they can basically can't be fired. Do you know what I'm talking about? Tenured. Do you think it's a bunch of
grandfathered in, tenured? I don't know the word.
Yeah, I think tenure is what I'm talking about. So do you think there's a lot of legacy, like university, like teachers and I don't know, like people there that they're not changing with the time and they're scared of their jobs?
Absolutely. It's like you got a lot of people up in the management side of universities that have been around in university for like 30 years, and they're used to the old style. That happens a lot in education.
It becomes
schools are the same.
the education becomes irrelevant then, right?
Yeah, that should be,
because
yeah.
now you're supposed to go to the uni to study and get new knowledge, right? So you prepare yourself for the workforce. So now you go to workforce and like, oh man, I write my codes on the paper, and like your boss will be like, dude.
Well, I feel like if the university truly cared about your education and how to use that technology, they really should just have a manager whose job is to hunt down experts in new technology. Like, you're paying X amount of tuition fees to go there. They should have a manager whose job is to find like all right, we're going to find the best AI specialist that's available. And, a more expensive, better university is going to be able to wrangle in the better expert. But they should be hunting that down.
But they're just going to, they want to keep their job, right? It's people just holding
just
their
like
jobs.
what Danny said, like they could just give you an assignment that then AI will be, even with the assistance of AI, it will be difficult.
Yeah.
That'll be like crazy. Like you guys like, holy
That's
moly.
why I've always been like, going forward, the work is going to be less about how technically skilled you are at programming. It's going to be how good you are at problem solving with the assistance of.
Agree.
Imagine I don't know, I'm going to rewrite the education system, but you're at school and you're not being allowed to use AI, but AI still isn't great. There's a lot of things that needs to do better. Even just using Midjourney, it can't do fingers and eyes as well. I know the new version can do a bit better, but like, what if through university you're learning how to make or use AI better, and then you come up with something intuitive or new in that process of learning how to do that, and then you can just like leave uni straight away. Probably this is probably what they're trying to avoid, but you can leave uni straight away, and you've learned something and a skill that you can add to the growing technology. Surely technology would grow faster and be more accessible to people if there was, imagine if every uni around the world was working on trying to make something better. Advancements would skyrocket through there. And like maybe it really is like before this, before probably the 70s and 80s. University, you could probably learn the same thing in university that your mum did, and then your father did before, or your granddad father that. Things didn't change that much. Science changed and medical changed a bit, but things didn't change that much. So you probably could learn the same thing from. So one lecturer could teach the same thing for 30, 40, 50 years, but you can't. If you were teaching me something like about computers and you haven't learned anything new for the last 20 years, useless, absolutely useless.
It's even more frustrating because I don't know if it's the case for other courses, but in the computer science world, the landscape changes so fast. By the time you've kind of graduated, the landscape's already changed. So whatever you've learned, you've kind of just starting fresh again. So that's why every one of these like IT fields, like computer science based, like occupations, like you only really truly start learning and gaining experience once you start working, because you start working there and then they'll be like, all right, now we'll teach you the skills. Because really you just went to uni, and it's like the longer I spend in university, the more I'm like getting jaded, the more I'm like, oh, it's just there to get a piece of paper.
This was like every trade job where it's like, you could become a tradie. Mm-hmm. So you do a, I forgot the word, when you're a kid and you do it.
Apprenticeship.
You do an apprenticeship, right? And you do it at a TAFE, and the TAFE is like, all right, this is how you do all these things, and this is like, they show you the safe way and how to do that, and then you go to your first job and you become an apprentice. So after you come out of TAFE, you become an apprentice, and you have your first job, and that place has to sign you off to say, yes, you're now a tradie. So you spend a few years there getting paid absolute shit and doing the world's shittest jobs, and you don't even do any of the things you just taught, because instead of like, learning how to do electrics and like put the electrics into a house, they're like, all right, your job here is to dig 5 holes today, and you're like, okay, and then I
throw this rubbish.
Yeah, essentially, right? Now you go gets coffee, and then you go do that for like a couple of years, and they'll show you how to do it their way. And then you leave there and you become an actual electrician, and they're like, all right, don't do any of that shit. This is how, this is how we actually do it. We don't have time to fuck around with these for certain safety things, but you do definitely have to do this because, you might die. And it's like, they'll show you the third way, and that's the way you're actually going to do it.
Yeah.
And, I've heard that indication across the board multiple times. That I knew someone who became a nurse, and same thing. She did TAFE, catch up for high school, and they taught her for how to become a nurse that way. Then they went to like the uni catch up for how to become the nurse, and then they became an actual nurse. And as soon as she walked, literally the first day when she walked into be like nursing, they were like, we don't do any of that. Yeah. Like these are the things you're going to be doing, and like even the best practices that you've learned, like if you do this here, you're going to piss people off. So don't.
All my mates that like work in software engineering are like, oh yeah, we all use AI. Like it makes us work so much faster. And I'm like, oh, so why am I like over here being like, I'm not allowed to use it?
Yeah, the people so actually doing their job are further advanced than what you're learning.
This is me being like, I've been in uni for like many years now, being jaded and tired, and don't take this as life advice. So if I ruin your life, don't come back and blame me. But
that's me, bro. I dropped out of uni.
Yeah,
like
everyone that I know
just couldn't.
Everyone that I know that is actually successful in their career didn't do uni. Just dropped out
I did uni. It's just
they just stopped.
Yeah. I just stopped.
One of my mates who was like, I don't think it's for everyone. I think if you are the type of person that can really dedicate yourself to like study, like spending like 40 hours a week studying like full time, and like spending that 3-4 years in uni and graduating, go for it. But if you truly think you can, otherwise you're wasting your time. If you're not that type of person that can spend 40 hours a day in front of and study and like really drill it in, you're better off just going out and looking for actual experience-based work. Like going out, like let's say in the computer world, you should just go out, get internships, find positions where like this entry level, they'll put you on a help desk, which requires 0 skill. Your job is to literally like, like literally like pick up the phone and like you get taught how to like fix like someone's computer, fix someone's like email.
Especially
And
with
then
how accessible technology is now. Like you could learn a lot of basics in high school and then just walk straight into a job.
Correct. And then from there, really, as you're working, you just have to show dedication to be like, hey, I want to learn this extra bit of skill while I'm there. Like while I'm in like the level 1 help desk, you should just be going out being like, hey, I want to learn this extra bit of skill. Can I try for this and try for this? And then in that career and experience, you try to work your way up from the business. And that's how a bunch of my mates did it. And now they're all in like very well-paying positions and they just never went to uni.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm over here.
They don't have a HEX debt to pay for the uni, and they're already like they got 5-6 years.
So it's like
of
that. It's like that thing where it's like like I'm over here driving my car 45 minutes every like week to like go to Curtin University. I'm listening to Kanye West's album College Dropout. He's talking about how like what an expensive waste of time and money and a piece of paper. And I'm like, oh man, what am I doing?
Did you do the uni thing because you've got like the Asian immigrant thing where you felt like you had to?
Legit.
My parents never went to university, so they don't know anything about what like uni and college is like. So they just like, oh, you need to go to uni. Like,
Especially knowing how hard your dad is as a worker. Do you think if he knew how like nonsense uni was, he'd be like, this is bullshit?
I think a part of it is tricky, right? Because as Asian parents, a lot of it is also the comparison with other like children. So for me, my dad was always like, oh, wait, if you don't think you're cut out for it, just go be a mechanic or like go be a sparky.
True.
Just figure it out.
At least he had that.
And then my mom was always like, no, you need to go to uni because your cousin like graduated like top of her class, become like world-class accountant now making like bank loads. I'm like, okay.
Like I'm very like white trashy bogan kind of family going on. So it's like when none of us went to uni as kids, no one was even vaguely surprised.
that particular, like what you just said, like my cousin got a good grade. That only worked
For him.
No, in Asia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It just works in Asia. It doesn't work here.
Yeah, not at all. Especially
It's like
Australia.
zero. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You can go like literally dig holes in the mines and get paid 5 times.
Yeah,
money.
pretty much.
WA is like the blue collar dream. You can truly just be a blue collar kind of guy and like live.
Trades is the way. Like if I know like that, I'll just come here and work in the mines though.
If you're like in like Namibia and you're like a miner, you're making like $1.
Yeah, you can have a surprise of that.
You're barely surviving.
To be fair though, for the first time in 8 years, Australia has seen an increase in unemployment. And,
shit.
Yeah, and an increase. It was a decrease in employment and an increase in people searching for jobs. And some of the big gas and oil companies had a massive clear out of contractors in the past
really?
3-4 months. Yeah, like pretty dramatic. In the range of somewhere between 10 to 30,000 contracts are being terminated. Not right now. So some people have already been let go, but others are like
gradually
getting wrapped up in the next year or so. Yeah.
Aren't there more people coming into the country now as well?
Well, a lot of the contractors they're getting replaced with people on salary that like pretty much live in the Philippines, and I think it's the mine's got this weird situation where they can get 3 people from the Philippines, and these guys are smart. They've done all the education they need to do there, but they can have 3 of these people working on the same rate that one person is contracting here. But the mines are the one who created the contracts for the people that live here as well. So there's a lot of guys who come from like over east, come to WA, and from New Zealand and other parts, and even other people from the Philippines who are on crazy contracts. Their contracts are being terminated, and they're replacing the people that are on less money, still good money. So it's not like a royalty kind of thing. It's just I think the escalation of the mining companies have boosted their own contracts up so far high to like compete with other mining companies that they've created a balloon situation where they just can't upkeep
The pendulum is swinging back the other way now, right?
Yeah.
It's like that post-COVID situation of like when after COVID, like briefly, there was like way more jobs than there were people.
Yes.
And now
That's right.
the pendulum has swung back around now, and now there's way more people than there are jobs again.
So it's only we've gone up from I think 1.4 or 5% unemployment to like 4.3 I think it was. So it's like that's still way lower than most other countries' unemployment. But it is a changing shift that I guess in WA and Australia that we didn't think was going to come anytime soon, and it's yet to see whether that makes a difference or not. Like England went into recession about 6-7 months ago, and it came out of recession about a month ago.
Oh, that's quick.
Yeah, it's quick, but it's like it's good because that'll start to work around, but that's quite volatile. Like the whole point of the economy is that it works in waves, very steady waves. It goes up for a few years and down for a few years. So if you go in and out of a recession quite quickly, that leads to things. Well, could they be back in recession in a shorter period of time soon as well? Doesn't mean it will be, but it definitely could be. So it's like it is.
Just use AI to calculate it.
Well, that's scary. Maybe if AI gets smart enough at predicting, you know,
True.
maybe they're already using it in like Goldman Sachs and stuff.
You have to imagine.
Probably.
Yeah. Because you've got guys there who are like 96 years old. They've been around before the internet existed and like physical, like before that, when only physical money existed as well, like before digital print money.
Yeah.
You know what a 96-year-old do? Neuralink.
Well, you got like top of the world, best class analysts working for those big investment firms, right? And they're like, we're talking best of the world analysts that their full time job is to analyze the stock market and make sure your investment is going to pay you back.
Yeah,
And if the AI gets smarter and smarter and smarter, that they're coming for your job too, mate.
Yeah,
So,
it's true. Like,
crazy.
you should talk about Neuralink. You know, they're working on their second patient now.
Really?
Yeah. So the first guy who had the disability with no arms and legs, I guess his went fine enough. He's hit it because the technology they put in there was a maximum that it could do because, you know, they're literally testing it, right?
Right.
So that went, I guess, well enough, and he seems to not have any negative response from it. So they're moving on to the second person now.
Ooh, we're gonna have Cyborg soon.
Like I think for that use of it, for this guy who clearly very disabled and didn't have much of a quality of life, having it for that is a great thing
Right.
for that
It's
man.
like a quality of life is improved, right?
I can't remember the game, but I think the first thing he did was go. I think was it you that telling me, Kang? Someone
Yeah,
told
he
me.
played Civ,
Yeah, he played. Yeah, like a computer game basically for
like all night apparently.
Yeah.
He's like never played like video games properly, and he's like, for the first time, I can play video games.
yeah, which is like that's
Can you imagine like Neuralink with like Call of Duty? It's like you'll be so quick, right?
Yeah, his
you
brain
get
is just
shot and you
faster.
piss your pants.
Would you guys get augmented? Like if we go to that point in the future
I
where
don't know.
like the augmentation is good enough where you can replace body parts and like chuck in Neuralink, would you?
I personally,
Do you want to be Jax?
I
Mortal Kombat.
I welcome like the machine gods to come around. Like,
replace your
I'm
spine.
so sick of working Kang. Like it's
The
been-
Omnisire.
In 3 weeks, I haven't slept for more than between 1 and 3 hours a night every night for 3 weeks. I've worked.
hectic.
I've worked so much. Yesterday, I went to Margaret River at 2 for work, and I finished work at like 11 o'clock last night.
Wait.
I'm fucking over it. I'm
Danny,
so over
if
it.
that what's it called? That Prime? What's that thing called?
The what Prime? Oh, the
The-
Prime bot?
Yeah.
Bot or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that Prime bot, right? So if that Prime bot like able to do
Fuck it. He can have it. He can have my job, Will.
No. Hold on. He's gonna drive
Don't
you
take it
around.
away from me. He's going to drive me
Drive
around.
you around now.
So he will do the easy part, and then I'm going to do the hard part?
No, I mean the driving part.
No, the
is-
hard part will become easy because you've replaced your spinal column and your arms and legs with like
Right.
jacked
True. It's
So you
just my
just
face
robot arms.
plastered
You
on the
just
front
tell
of it.
him what to do.
So
No,
I
tell,
drive.
no, tell it what to do. Sorry.
So I'll drive him around, and then when I
No,
get
you
there-
don't drive him around. You drive it around.
Yeah.
He drives you around. Sorry.
So you're delivery driver for the robot.
But you understand that I'm a manual laborer when I get to the other side, right? So he
can still carry stuff, right?
well, I guess so. He's just,
he-
he's just
oh,
probably my
he-
friend.
Pretty much. Like
Nice.
you're someone you hired
One of my best friends.
without feeding it.
One of my best friends who comes to the club, his name's Connor, and he's a very tall white man with a lot of tattoos and has dreadlocks. So I could just put like a mop on top of this guy's head and call him Connor 2.0.
So pretty much what he does is you just manage him. Like just manage.
Yeah. We're gonna have customers come to Northern Boards looking to buy some magic packs.
I
and
guess
a robot turns around and says hi.
Like what do you do like during a transport? Like say I gotta like transport some tiles. What do you do?
Well, I don't. So the main thing I deliver is like tiles and building products.
Okay.
And then so when I get to the site, generally speaking, I physically carry that inside the house.
Okay. Then you use the robot to carry it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like I maybe, but then it's like if he's doing the carrying and the driving, I'm fucking irrelevant, right?
No, you manage it. You own the robot to do it for you, so you don't have to like.
Isn't the idea? I guess so. I can.
My
manage
idea
from
was
home.
way more fun. My idea was that like Danny's arms and legs got
But
chopped
how-
off.
how does
now he's got
the-
robot arms and legs. He's picking up,
clamps?
he's
Yeah.
picking up 3 tons worth of tiles.
How does
and
the
just chucking them
robot
into the house?
No. Listen to me. How does the robot know where to put the stuff? Right. So you need to tell it what to
Well,
do.
I think that the point where it can replace me doing that, the AI ability for it to like know where to put things would be better.
No, you
right?
have Neuralink.
But you
and
are
do
right.
it from the comfort of your home.
Oh, so I become the robot in
You're just lying down on your couch.
You just manage like 10 robots. You just sit in Northern Boards playing Commander. You play Commander, and then while managing 10 robots delivering stuff, while you make money and play Commander.
And if there's no one to play Commander with, I just play Commander with the robots.
You win every time. You're like, oh, I'm so good at this game.
Well, that's I like. Look, I can't. there's only 2 or 3 guys in the whole of Perth that do what I do, and it sounds it's way worse than what I describe it as. I like to joke about it, but it's a fucking nightmare, right? Now, I like it because there's not many people doing it, so I can charge good money, and that helps me like fund all of these other projects that we're doing, right? So that bit's great. But there's only 2 or 3 guys in Perth that do it, and there's one other main guy who does it every day, like I do. And I didn't realize, but his daughter plays football, AFL, and his daughter was training next to my son who's playing AFL. And I was like, "Oh, hey man, what's going on, Vince?" And we were having a chat, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just letting you know, I'm actually I'm going on holiday for 4 weeks, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to quit. And I'm not doing it anymore. I'm selling my truck. I'm fucking over this shit." So I said to Vince, "Can you please not? Can you not do that?" Because I've already got clients coming out of the woodwork being like texting me like, "Oh, hey, Dan, haven't talked to you." I'm like, "Fuck off. Absolutely not, man."
Is there anyone else that would take the mantle?
No, he's going to try and sell the business. But so, again, it's in no other part of like first world countries does this happen. No, it doesn't do it. No one does it in the US. No one does it over East, and no one does it in England. And like these are our 3 representations of how this works. It's only a Perth thing. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how I got dragged into this industry by a family member that I'll always be fucking annoyed at. But it's like the people don't do that. Normally what happens is, so you just take the product and you dump it on the ground outside, and it's like the tilers or the wood floorers who are doing that job, their job is to take that inside. Now they just do that once a day. So it's a bit shit, but it's not a big deal. They do that, then they'll work on that site for the next 3 or 4 weeks. Right? Me, I just do it 10 times a day by going to 10 different places, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So what I'm trying to do is, as I get older, is to transition out of the really heavy manual labor into less manual labor and use the crane a bit more. But that's more competitive work because it's
so.
Less
what about
exosuits?
reliant.
I like the ones from Avatar.
No, not Avatar.
I want to, the one
just like assist, like it's just your hips, legs, and like
the
arms.
early Iron Man ones.
Yeah, the basic ones. Like I think they have it right now.
I will take any technological advancement I can get.
Yeah. I mean, that will help you with your back, right?
Yeah.
So you can carry like 20, 30 kilo load without any issue.
Well, so one of the biggest problems is, right, that people go, "Oh, I can't believe you don't have a forklift or a trolley to help." And it's like, how does a forklift get through your front door? Like I've got to get like a tile,
Gotcha.
like a 4 meter pack of timber through your front door. So a trolley, it doesn't really help because you just got to put it off the truck and then onto the trolley, and then you wheel the trolley to the front door, and then you've got to pick it up off the trolley, which creates like a bending down situation. That's actually worse for your back than taking it off the truck, and then you carry it inside. And I've always been like, you're just double handling it. But I'm now got slightly older where that double handle is worth the extra steps because I'm like, whoa.
Exosuit, bro.
It's also like I'm really bad at saying no. Like, we started the club, and then I got involved with Burger Boy, and then we started renovating a restaurant, and then midway through that I started working for Frostop, like the tech company. I still drive the truck every day. I manage another person's business to help them out with that as well. And it's like every day is just filled, and I'm like really bad at saying no. So the last 3 or 4 weeks I've been working between 16 and 24 hours a day. And
Danny, would you like to sort cards for me then?
You guys trade jobs, William delivers for a day.
Well, it's like, I don't know. A few times over the years, people have said to me like, "Oh, like you get," because Lucas, my son, is not the most scholastically prominent child. Like he's definitely going to be a little tradey boy. And I think that's good. It's not dig, but it's it's one of those things. I'm like, "Oh, you're going to get him on the truck," and I was like, "Why the fuck would I do that to my own kid? Like, why would I punish him?" Like
my dad
this?
was a chef, and he was always like, "I don't care what you do, just don't become a chef."
Don't become a chef.
Yeah. So hospital work is also a bit of a nightmare right now. Everyone's like needing people for hospital.
Well, so again, because that's where I was reading this like stats from. In hospitality, it's gone from people not being able to find staff to now they're getting maybe double to triple the amount of applicants for a position that they actually need. So that's what those maybe lower skilled, more casual work is where you start to see those shifts first because so people can pick up an extra job and just do it on the weekend or whatever.
I used to do a lot of hospital work, right? Because I worked at Sushi. I was one of their managers for a while, and it's always one of those things where like hospital work it's like work. It's not a big deal. It's like it's actually not that hard of work. But what actually is hard about that job is the people you work with. Hospital, because you have exactly enough people you need to do the jobs, right?
If they do it well.
Well, exactly, right? You need everyone to be actually doing like their work.
Pull their own weight.
Yeah, everyone needs to be pulling their weight, and if it does, your day's actually not that bad. You just do your job. It's like anything. It's just a job. You just do it. It's not that bad. if it's busy, your time goes fast, you go home, and that's what jobs are. Work is just there for you to facilitate that you can go home, do your own things for the weekends or whatever. But there's some days at work where like I show up and I see who's working and I know that day's going to suck. Not because of the job itself, but just because of the people you work with.
Because like a corporate structure will be like, all right, we need one chef, we need one guy on till, we need one guy to do the banking, this and that. And it's like, those jobs are filled. So from a corporate point of view, everything is fine. But then you get there and you're like, the guy on till has never used the till before. And also he doesn't want to be here.
Correct. So I wonder if it's a bit of a nightmare in hospital. If they're like, so many people are applying, they also have to kind of figure out if the people they're hiring is worth their salt.
Well, I listened to another podcast done by a guy called Perth Food Dude, and he's a chef here in Perth. And he's got a pretty decent channel. Like his Instagram's very popular. And he talks about the applications that you get. So when you go through Seek, for example, that you'll get 500 applications, and
really
maybe 1 or 2% of them are applicable at all to what you need. So you've really got to, you spend so much time vetting through those. So what they try to do when they open a new restaurant, for example, is like they just poach from other places they work.
It's so much easier, right?
Yeah, and it's like you're just looking for people, and it's poaching can be seen as a bad thing, but also if they can successfully poach you, it means they've presented something better to that staff member than you could provide them. So if another game store came along to Kang and poached him and they were successful, I could be a little dirty about it, but I also have to accept that whatever they offered him was, I should have been treating him better at the same time. You know what I mean? So
fair enough.
I think that's important, that for staffing is like, if you treat your staff like shit, you'll get shit back.
It's funny you mentioned that, because that happens exactly in the technology world. The top class like engineers, like the top class software engineers, or even like the hardware engineers for example, AMD and Nvidia, the two major chip producers for graphics cards, their top engineers just jump works between the two companies. So AMD will just come to Nvidia's top engineers and be like, hey, we'll pay you better, come to our position, and they'll just jump over to Nvidia for a little bit, and then jump back aboard AMD because AMD will offer them better, and the engineers just bounce back and forth. Because when you come to like world class, like you are the best of your job, there's only so many of you guys, right? So the companies will just be like, how much do you want for you to join us?
The Lionel Messi of coding.
So, for example, if you're from another game store, Kang is not world class. He's not that good at his job. Please don't come anywhere near me.
So there's a bit of a funny thing where it's like the CEO of AMD is the cousin to the CEO of Nvidia.
Really?
Something like that. They're like related to each other.
How competitive can they really be then?
I don't know. So
it's gonna be like a monopoly then, like a oligopoly or something.
So like for example, like the Apple engineers will work at like Apple for like 6 months, and then they'll just jump to Microsoft and work at Microsoft for like a year, and then jump back to like Apple. And just if you're a top engineer, you're top of your world class, you just bounce around from all the best companies.
So you get paid like every time you jump, you get 20% raise.
Yeah,
no shit.
Yeah.
And that's how they live in like Silicon Valley, California, baby.
It's like, hey, I need my new Ferrari. Let's jump.
There's a joke. There's a meme of like the Silicon Valley like millionaire and his OnlyFans girlfriend.
Yeah, that's true.
It's crazy.
All right, it's been an hour, gentlemen. So we had
it's pretty quick today.
Our hobby chat really, went off course very, very quickly, which I always
We'll
like
still have it. We still have AI in Magic the Gathering.
I do need to cover just a couple things. This Friday, we have the Flesh and Blood pre-release.
Let's go.
very exciting.
Happening down at Burger Boy. And we've got some cool new things on the menu. We've got some wings and some Kievs and some cool stuff. That's open to anybody. So One Piece is happening up at the club. Then the pre-release is happening down at Burger Boy in the markets. We have some cool like snacks. Come down, check it out. And then on Saturday, we've also got the Warhammer Fantasy Tournament. There's still spots for that. I've been a little bit useless and not got the BCP up yet, but I'll get that done hopefully today. And so jump on that if you're interested in some 2,000 points Warhammer Fantasy. Or
And every Sunday now, we're going to start running drafts. So
Yes.
if you're interested in drafting, every
let's go.
Sunday is going to be drafts. I think this Sunday is going to be a flashback draft. We're going to do Time Spiral remasters.
Nice.
And then from there, we can alternate back and forth between like the current set and older set. Gives some variety to players.
Nice. Love it.
Fresh.
Exciting.
Yeah. So Time Spiral draft this weekend, Sunday at 12, question mark?
Always 12 o'clock, yeah.
12 o'clock?
Arvo, nice and easy, 12 o'clock.
Nice.
Nice.
And how many people get for Highlander last week?
We got 9.
Yeah, 9-10 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're back on track.
On the track. Nice.
So-
So we can do that monthly as well, eh?
Yeah, I want to get Highlander back just because I'm playing, and I would like to see an event happen because I
Did you play?
I played a round and I jumped back.
Next time, book it on actually, maybe if you want to, book it on a weekend that I'm working so that you can play.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Okay, shout out. Patreon members, any big thanks?
I was not mentioning on person. Shut up. We're at 9. Sign up, please.
The fake 9 or
real 9.
real 9? Okay.
Real fake 10, real 9.
Okay, fake 10. Okay, sorry.
Thank you for listening to the Boardcast. As always, every Wednesdays, every Thursdays, keep an eye for the kick out.
Ciao, smells.
Cool.